Your inner geek wants to come out and play, but where to go? Join Vernon Wells, the ultimate club where you and your fellow geeks can hang out, play games, and just nerd out 24/7. Whether you love RPGs, video games, or are just a major fan of sci-fi and geek culture, Vernon Wells has something for everyone. Let your geek flag fly at Vernon Wells. Sign up today and see for yourself. VNW.club. That's VNW.club.
Ladies, gentlemen, geeks of all ages, you are now entering BJ Shea's Geek Nation. Welcome.
Yes, welcome to BJ Shea's Geek Nation. I am the Reverend Enfuego. Across from me is Vicky Barcelona.
Hello.
The show's namesake. He's not here, but Joey Dees is back.
Yeah. What's up?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Excellent. On today's show, we will talk about D23 with Gareth von Kallenbach.
D's 23.
D23, not Joey D's 23.
Oh.
And we will get into more D23 news because there is a lot coming from Marvel and just Disney in general. Maybe some of that more, but of course, the Geek Sheet with Vicky B. Vicky, how can people get a hold of us?
Get a hold of us via our website, bjgeeknation.com. It's going to have all our podcast plugs, info, and more. But if you just search BJ Shea's Geek Nation, you'll find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, radio.com, and iTunes. And quick fun fact, you can now hear the podcast on YouTube as well.
Yeah, we're doing that. We're loading those up there. So if you're just a person that wants to run YouTube in the background, maybe you've got an extra computer at work or an extra screen at work that you can do that. And maybe it's harder for you to be able to get, your cell phone reception through that, or you don't have Wi-Fi at work. Whatever reason, this is another way for you to get your Geek Nation news.
Yep.
Another thing you can do is please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Give us some nice words of encouragement, or maybe you just tell, Gareth or BJ to stop yelling Gareth von Kallenbach. I mean, all those things are really nice to do.
Tell us how much you like the fact that some of our favorite shows aren't coming back.
Oh no, my shows! Which we may be talking about some of the ones that are dying and some of the ones that I know you're happy about that. We do need to discuss the D23 Expo, which is Disney's massive expo. It looks like essentially at this point they're going to put out some things that we saw like at San Diego Comic-Con.
I thought you were going to say taking over the world.
Well, they are absolutely taking over the world. But in other terms, this is where they're just going to be showcasing and highlighting a lot more stuff, more so than just than San Diego Comic-Con. They'll do some announcements there, but by and large, with D23, they're going to be throwing the big news, and we've got a lot of that. But first, we need to talk with that Mr. Gareth von Kallenbach, because he's got some news about the physical attractions that are going to be coming in the world of Disney. Gareth von Kallenbach joins us at Skewed and Review, that is sknr.net. And Gareth, we've been really focusing with you a lot of the times when you go and you head out to these big conventions about the experience and what's been going on at these. And you were just recently at D23. How was that for you?
It was very busy. There was a lot of news going on, a lot of activities, so it was definitely a big event, that's for sure.
And there's been a ton of news just coming out from the casts of so many shows, so many other things coming out, like the Disney Plus news, the Eternals news. But something that I thought was exciting, and you're a guy who goes to a lot of the theme parks. You've been to the Star Wars Galaxies Edge, but now they've made some major announcements about what you can see there in terms of theme rides, correct?
Correct. So basically what's happening is it's opening right now in Florida at Disney, at the Disney World complex. It's not at Disney World itself. It's at the Hollywood Studios, I believe, is where this one is. But, 5 parks and all that fun stuff. So it's all same umbrella. So what's happening is in December, the big ride, a lot of people think the Smuggler's Run Millennium Falcon's the big ride. It's not, even though it is top notch. The big ride is called Rise of the Resistance, and it opens in December in Florida. It will open in January in California. And apparently we've been told it's like a 20-minute long ride. And it's multifaceted, and this is what's caused the delay. Basically, you go through a resistance base. Apparently, you get on a flight sim. You get jacked by the First Order. We've been told that there may actually be real stormtroopers that take you from the flight sim, put you in a holding cell. You get out, and then you're riding around on a trackless racer, trackless cart that's got a I've seen photos of the cart. It looks pretty good, and I guess that was part of the issue. It's trackless, so it took a little bit to get it right.
That makes sense.
You go through like Walkers and Kylo Ren and the First Order, and this whole battle erupts. And apparently at some point, in addition to driving through and going through all these battles, it becomes a big elevator drop near the end. So I guess, like they said, it's this massive experience, so that's opening. And then they talked about the hotel, which is coming, and we've heard all kinds of rumors about how expensive it's going to be, but
yeah,
check this out. Supposedly, it's treated like a cruise ship. Everyone boards at the same time. And you go into essentially like a flight simulator, which is your shuttle up to dock at the hotel. So you dock at the hotel, you go in, and you literally, the 2 days that you're on it, everything's Star Wars. The whole crew, the ship, you can go up to the cockpit, you can do all that. And of course, they said, well, the First Order may come in, and there may be crew members with secret missions. They showed like an area for the kids where they could crawl through. And then they said, oh, yeah, and then your port of call is Batuu, which is the land in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So, but, you know, we started to hear stories like, it's going to be about $3,000 for, 5 people in a room. That's per, for 2 days or something. It might be about $2,500 to $3,000 a person. And then some say, no, that's per cabin. So if you break it down, it's like $500-600 a day, which is essentially what you would pay for one of the premier hotels. So, that all has to be figured out, but it looks fantastic.
And that's one of those things, I mean, if you look at it in terms of like a cruise, that's what you're going to be putting in for a cabin for a cruise. Now, does this include stuff like tickets into the theme park itself, or is this just the hotel that you're talking about?
This is just the hotel. They aren't saying yet, but I believe there'll be packages and stuff like that.
Makes sense.
When they followed up Star Wars, we got a lot of news on the new Marvel attractions that were coming, and there's some massive updates in that category as well. And they kind of implied that there might be some combination things coming.
That's really exciting. I mean, I'm really stoked for this, and it might be one of the. I mean, I'm not a big ride person. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I've gotten sick on a Ferris wheel. But seeing something like this, where it's that total immersive experience, I've seen the videos of where you can build lightsabers now. But now that the fact that they're able to flesh it out and put more stuff in, this is going to be one of those premier experiences that you're gonna want to be doing with yourself, your family, your kids. Hell, just by yourself. Be a millennial and go to this.
Oh, exactly. And, it's crazy because you're sitting there blown away by this, and then they show you the other stuff, and you're like, oh, my God, which one do I do first? And that's what's so frightening about it, because you think they reached the pinnacle with this, and then it's like, no, you haven't seen anything yet. This is the other stuff that's coming a year or so behind it, and you're just like, kaboom.
Oh, man.
Exploding time.
I love it. I love it so much, and I know that you have more information about all of the Marvel stuff. People can find that at Skewed and Review. That is sknr.net. I know video game news is going to be huge since this weekend is PAX, so people need to check out that and the Facebook and more. Thank you so much, Gareth.
Anytime. Take care.
Thank you so much, Gareth von Kallenbach. Again, Skewed and Reviewed, sknr.net is the way to get a lot of the news and pictures. And this weekend is the Penny Arcade Expo. Gareth will be there, as will, I know I'll be there for sure. And I know the Board Game Alliance will. So check everyone out. If you see them, say hi. Gareth von Kallenbach will have news and photos and all that stuff from the Penny Arcade Expo this week. But Disney had some massive news that ran down that we need to run down, because I was telling you I wanted to save it for us to discuss. Gareth has his own ideas and what he wants about that, and you can find that on the website. But there are so many things that they announced. First off, Disney Plus is their streaming service. It is going to be the one that you have to get, including. I mean, they have announced the Disney movies. Like the vaults are going to be open. You're going to be able to be getting a lot of those. There's a ton of Marvel and Star Wars news, including the fact that Ewan McGregor will return as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
What?
Yes. At D23, the actor confirmed the news that he is set to star in a new Disney Plus Star Wars series. Now, we don't necessarily know what it's going to be involving, other than the fact that it's, Obi-Wan.
Yeah. What?
It's funny because I have a meme about this.
Yeah?
It's like Disney, our streaming service will cost $7.99. I mean, I don't know. I've already had a lot of streaming service subscriptions. Disney, we'll bring Ewan McGregor back to reprise the role of Obi-Wan. Me, keep the change, you filthy animal. It's a picture of Kevin from Home Alone.
Another thing also is the fact that The Mandalorian is going to be coming, and this is going to be a darker, grittier version. If you haven't seen the trailer, I know we've posted it on our Facebook page. You need to watch this. Whoo-wee! That has me excited, almost as excited as the trailer. It wasn't even necessarily a trailer. It was like a retrospective of the Star Wars universe involving the Skywalker family. So it showed everything going up from the original Star Wars, the build-up with Luke and Leia and Han, and you get all that going up until now, the now time, I guess, for Episode 7 and Episode 8, where you see Rey, where you see all those other people that I can't think of their names of right now.
I know that
Poe
guy.
Dameron, Finn,
Thank you so much.
BB-8.
Because all I've been thinking about was the very end of it. Not even a full second. It was like a half second. You see Rey in what looks to be dark Jedi Sith robes, wielding a red lightsaber. Not only a red lightsaber, but a dual-bladed lightsaber that suddenly, well, it starts off as almost like a battle axe because they're like parallel to each other, and then she flips it out like one of those little switchblade knives and it becomes a Darth Maul-esque dual-bladed lightsaber.
Which is interesting because, I found another meme.
Yeah, of course you did.
So everyone is comparing Darkseid Rey's lightsaber to Maul, even though Pong Krell has the exact lightsaber in Clone Wars. So it's an animated version.
Oh, interesting.
So maybe they got it from there. And I did look it up. It is pretty much the same lightsaber.
Wow. Another big thing about this is it looks like you can get Disney Plus for $4 a month. But there's a bit of a catch because, I mean, even it's only $7 a month coming out. You're a fool not to get it. But here's the deal. You can get it for cheaper if you sign up for the D23 Disney Fan Club. And then you can either choose for your paid membership tier. And then once you're a member of that, you can get $4 a month for Disney. Here's the deal. You need to do it as a 3-year paid subscription membership. So it's like how they get you, like with anything, with like video game subscriptions, they'll be like, yeah, you can pay, $14.99 a month. Or if you subscribe for an entire year, it'll be a little bit cheaper.
Luckily, it's super expensive like a car where they're got you on the hook for years.
Well, and I mean, it's Disney, so you don't necessarily have to worry about something like this going belly up. Because I know I had a friend who, when EverQuest Next was getting ready and coming out, he bought the $250 Founders thing. Yeah. You know where this is going. Well, there is no EverQuest Next because it went away, and well, he didn't get any of his money.
I'm shocked.
Yeah,
it just disappeared down. the alley.
Yeah. Because I mean, the game was in vaporware, and they're trying to get people to pay for it, and it didn't really work out for him.
Also, a side note with the whole Disney Plus, it is $7.99 a month, or if you pay the yearly, it is $70 annually,
Which saves you about $14.
Something like that. Netflix, for reference, its popular plan is $13 a month, or like I think we've mentioned on the podcast before, they're doing a deal with Hulu where you can get Hulu, but it's the one with commercials, with Disney Plus for $13 a month. Which isn't bad. Like, I don't know how much you pay for Hulu normally.
I think I pay like the $15 one, but that's also because I want zero ads.
Yep.
So I don't get any advertisements.
I appreciate that because I use it.
That's right. And
I use it all the time.
And it's one of those ones where I've loved Hulu ever since I realized that a lot of the network shows would just
switched over.
It would just be like a day later, and I'm okay with. And some of them it were the same day. Like with Gotham, I was watching them the day of on Hulu, which is fantastic. And that was how we were able to keep up with that show.
And I think that's something that it has a leg up on Netflix. And the other thing, I feel like all the shows that I like to watch, like Family Guy and Archer, and those are my behind, like I'm cleaning the house, it's background noise shows. They all switched over to Hulu. So I can't watch them on Netflix anymore. So that makes me I'm leaning towards Hulu more and more to the point where I might get my own. Hey.
Quick side note,
someday.
I opened up Netflix and threw on The Office. Oh boy, you could not make that show in this day and age. That first season is...
Yeah.
Steve Carell mentioned that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Carell mentioned that. Well, I mean, and I know, Vicky, this is kind of a bit of a side, and we'll get back to the main topic, but I know that you watch Friends, and I've been watching Friends before, and there's so many things,
I'm
like
just
from
nope.
the 90s, where you're like,
You can't say that.
you cannot do these
I've
things.
read lists and stuff. It's like there's a lot of things that I'm like, okay. I kind of want them. I wish there would be a show that is very similar to Friends, that's more diverse. But the joke being like, hey, we have this really nice apartment, but instead of 2 people living there, there is now 4 of us because we can't afford renting prices and we're all millennials.
That would be a good one as well.
Funny as all hell. Like mix 2 broke girls with friends.
2 broke friends.
Yeah.
4 broke friends.
More like 6 broke friends. But also, side note, Disney owns ESPN, I believe, correct? ESPN Plus will also be available on November 12th. So I think that you can also add that as an add-on.
I'm going to have to figure out how the whole bundling thing is. As much as I like Netflix, the only thing I've been really using it for at this point was shows that they cancel after 2 or 3 seasons, RIPOA, and then also things along the lines of the comedy specials. I really want to check out the Chappelle comedy special, but also...
So good.
I went to the show, and I think that almost all of the material is from that.
Probably.
So we'll have to see on that. But I do love the fact that they highlight a lot of lower or lesser named comics when they're doing that stuff. Going back to some of the D23 stuff and finishing up a little bit of the Star Wars stuff, the new Rise of the Skywalker poster came out, and it features Emperor Palpatine. Very visible in it because he's overseeing both Kylo and Rey getting ready to fight. This was one of those things where people weren't sure or not if it was Palpatine's laugh at the end of the first trailer that we saw. This all but confirms it. So maybe Snoke was just a puppet and had nothing to do with Palpatine. We'll have to see.
So we know they've been taking their own liberties with the whole Force, right? And
absolutely.
what you can and can't do with it.
Joe, I'd like to say they're redefining what the Force is for a new generation.
See, I personally like it. I get why people don't like it. But at the end of the day, if you go back and watch some of the old movies, including Star Wars, there are a lot of plot holes because of it. So let's just appreciate the fact that the storyline's moving along and it's not terrible.
Exactly. And this is not going to be some weird midi-chlorian thing that happens in episode 1 that no one ever mentions ever again.
Yeah, he's the most powerful kid of all time, but for whatever reason, you can't train him. I don't know why. But anyways.
Yeah.
So my question is can Emperor Palpatine be dead, but be force talking to Rey and Kylo, trying to manipulate both of them to the dark side?
We've only seen good Force ghosts.
Right.
Why can't there be evil Force ghosts?
Because I'm thinking he may have died, but maybe that was like part of his whole he can be resurrected, but he has to convince someone to do some sort of ritual.
Ooh,
right?
That's a good call on that. And wow, I didn't even think about that.
That's like the plot for every really good like anime and movie like that the bad guy can be reincarnate himself somehow.
Yeah,
so
or I mean, like
it.
Harry Potter with the Horcruxes.
Yep.
Like I can see this happening.
So I'd be like, and then it launches into that's the end of the series, the Rise of the Skywalker, and then they're like, oh wait, maybe now.
What?
Oh yeah.
Oh, what if he's trying to get both of them to be on the dark side? Because if he can get both of them with all of the darkness with both of them, then he can be resurrected. But then at the end, they're like, no, we're good guys.
Right?
Yay.
Right?
I think we just figured it out.
I'm hoping so.
Or this could just be another crappy fan theory that everybody has.
Or it could go the way of Game of Thrones and she could just be actually evil.
Right?
No.
Going from the Star Wars news to some Marvel news, Black Panther 2 has a release date. It was announced at D23 that it will be, well, as they say in this article, it will pounce into theaters on May 6th of 2022. So we're still 2.5 years away, almost 3 years away.
Did you say 2022?
2022.
Jeez.
So,
have they even filmed it yet?
I would imagine no.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if they've even worked past most of the casting other than the main casting.
I was going to say, they signed that one dude on.
Yeah, right. Some of the shows, some of the lesser known superheroes will be getting series for Disney Plus. We know about Loki. We know about WandaVision, which is really interesting.
I like seeing have you seen the concept art of it at all?
Yeah, it's going to be the first sitcom.
WandaVision.
Right?
Okay, I didn't realize that's what that was because it was very like 50s, like them on the couch.
50s-esque sitcom. And I would imagine that since I don't know how much that they've actually worked with this in the MCU, but what Wanda's powers as the Scarlet Witch in the comic books was her affecting reality. We've just seen her kind of red powers at this point in the movies. So I think this is her finding her own alternative reality to kind of hide away from the fact that Vision got killed in Endgame or in Infinity War.
In all of them.
In all of them. And it was one of those you can't take back kills. So I think this is going to be her coping with that and trying to get out of that while being set in a weird, like, Leave It to Beaver-esque sort of
They said it is a limited series, and they said that the main inspiration for this was the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Okay. Yeah. This is going to be one of those sort of strange sitcoms.
It's going to be Legion all over again.
It's going to be a mind F, I bet you. Yeah.
It's absolutely a mashup of sitcoms, Olsen said in an interview with Yahoo Entertainment.
Another character that's going to be getting a series, She-Hulk.
Yes.
Oh, God. This is going to be the one we don't need.
No, see,
I'm excited. I want Ronda Rousey as She-Hulk or someone like her. Just
interesting.
I don't want her. So I'm okay with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman because I think she's still strong but still like realistic in her form. But there is a lot of drawings, and I'm totally blanking on the artist, and it's a European artist who draws Wonder Woman as an actual Amazonian.
Oh.
So, without it being cartoony or silly, like if you remember the Snoo episode on Futurama, how they're these big, strong, tall women, that's how they draw her. And I want to see someone who's equally tall and just muscular but feminine, very much like a Serena Williams.
I was thinking that. Why don't they have Williams?
I don't know how.
I don't know her acting.
I don't know
just
her
like
acting
physique
abilities,
sort of thing. Yeah.
But her physique and her presence, because that's what She-Hulk is.
And she's more of a fourth wall breaking character in the comics. I don't know if they're really going to be getting into that, but Gwendolyn Christie would be a great one in sort of those terms as well.
She's the one that plays the Game of Thrones character?
Yes, and she's also in Star Wars.
Yeah, Brienne of Tarth and Captain Phasma. So she's already within the fold of Disney because she's been doing the Phasma stuff. So maybe. Another one that got me really excited was the announcement of the Eternals. They're going to be coming out with a November 2020 release with this one. This is starring Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek, Richard Madden, Kumail Nanjiani, and I was really stoked for this. Now, Now, most people don't necessarily know what the Eternals are. The Eternals are cosmic godlike beings. Well, actually, here's what happened was the Celestials came to Earth and then created these guys. And they're essentially still gods.
Celestial, was that what Ego was?
Yes.
Okay.
And
from
also,
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yes. And you'll see there was a couple of shots, I think in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, where they explained what a Celestial was when they're talking about the Power Stone. And you would see these giant creatures almost look like robots. And they were the ones that who helped basically shape and form the universe. They created two offshoots of the human races, which were essentially gods and demons, called the Eternals and the Deviants. And so a lot of the Eternals have names that are close to what Thor or Odin would be. And so it's kind of a mishmash of that. So it would be like the pantheon that we've seen with the Thor, but a little bit different. So it kind of essentially the difference between like Greek and Roman gods and what would be like the Norse gods as well. And I'm really excited for all of these.
That cast has me excited, to be honest with you. I was not that hyped until you said it, and now I'm like, wow, all right, I'm in.
Yeah, and the core group of Eternals in the comics consist of Icarus, Athena, Circe, Makari, Gilgamesh, and Zurus. Now, this is like they're really offshoots or really close to what we have in our normal mythological lore, but of course they're spelled differently for whatever reasons that you have on that. But those are the ones that I'm really actually pretty stoked about to be able to see on that.
Can I sneak back actually a little bit?
Yeah.
So when we were talking about She-Hulk, I decided to do a little Googling, see if anybody's done any dream casting yet. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that caught my eye was apparently one of her friends, and they worked together as her investigator, was Hellcat. And we know Hellcat from Jessica Jones, who...
Yeah,
can I spoil?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the end of Jessica Jones season 3, So apparently Hellcat, which is her friend Trish, kind of goes off the deep end with her powers, and she becomes the bad guy. And when she's sitting...
Oh, glad I didn't watch that season.
It was actually pretty gory.
Really?
It got pretty... She would, like, wreck these people.
Wow.
And at the very end, when she's sitting in the cops... Because she tried to kill Jessica, and that's when... So for those who didn't know, there is a guy there. His superpower is if you're evil... He would get sick around you, so he knew if you were evil.
Oh. How does that...
You're talking about mutants and superpowered people, Joe.
Yeah. Don't worry about that, man.
But so he could sense these. Freaking Joe. So when he went around Trish and she turned evil, that's when she's like, no, that's not true. I'm not bad. And she tries to kill Jessica at the very end. And she was doing this all in the whole... I like the whole idea of, I'm doing this for the greater good. Mm-hmm. And every bad guy in real life... Every dictator, everyone's doing it for the greater good. Mm-hmm. And she was sitting there at the very end saying, like, when she's hearing all the charges against her, all the people she's murdered, she's like, oh, I am the bad guy.
Oh,
like it was that was the most redeeming part of the whole thing. It's just like, yeah, you're the a-hole. But Hellcat's one of her friends. I'm curious if they would bring back characters from shows like Jessica Jones or Daredevil, or if they're going to tie that in, if we're going to still see these characters. I'm still holding out. I don't want them to reboot or recast Daredevil or Punisher or anything. Like, I want to see more of these shows.
And that's the problem, is because of the whole Netflix thing, and they took their ball with Disney, and I mean, they're doing that a lot, and they're trying to consolidate all the things. I don't know necessarily whether they want to reboot those or they want to bring in that stuff, because they're definitely grittier than any of the other MCU stuff, and they've only vaguely referenced a lot of the things going on. So I can see them just being like, well, that was a fun experiment. We're going to move on from that, and here's a whole new cast of stuff. But I thought they were all cast so well.
I mean, we can
all these were great.
We can forget about Iron Fist.
I mean, he doesn't need his own series, but he can be around.
Right. I wouldn't mind if they did a team up like Luke Cage, Iron Fist, like for a 6-episode situation.
Yeah.
Short. No more than 8.
Joe's just shaking his head over there.
I don't want to see that.
Well, hopefully that we'll get more stuff going on with all of this information. I love where they're going with this. I'm absolutely picking up. I've got Hulu anyway, but I'm getting Disney Plus. I just have to at this point.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the day, it's never bad to have more content.
Yeah. You know what? Like we've said so many times, it's the biggest problem we have is probably the best problem a geek right now would ever have. Now it is time to move on to
The Geek Sheet with Vicky B.
Well, Vicky, it's Friday and it's Labor Day. That probably means there's a bunch of movies coming out, right?
You would think.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Not really.
Really?
At least not in the nerdy realm. There is a few.
Okay.
But nothing like... There's one called like Official Secrets. One's called The Load.
Wow.
I laugh too.
Can't help it.
The only one I would consider maybe is one that's Don't Let Go or Relive. It's only getting 52% on Rotten Tomatoes as of yet.
It's not completely terrible at that point, but what's it about?
It's a mystery suspense movie. It's Detective Jack Radcliffe gets a shocking phone call from his recently murdered niece, Ashley. Working together across time, they race to solve her murder before it can happen.
Oh.
What is she going to do?
Right? Yeah.
I don't know. David, was it Oyelowo? Yeah, because I looked up how to pronounce it on IMDb.
Yellow.
He is the main character,
all right.
Jack. He also played, if that name sounds familiar, he played Martin Luther King Jr. in the movie Selma.
Oh, all right.
What also stands out is Alfred Molina is also in this movie.
Why does his name sound familiar?
He was Alfred Molina. He's been in the second Spider-Man movie.
Oh,
he was Doc Ock.
Oh gosh,
he
okay, yeah.
Was in the movie Frida, played Frida's husband.
That's right.
Alfred Molina is a treasure.
That's like one of those interesting things because I completely forget him until I see his face.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, yeah. I love it. I just quickly Google image searched him, and it was like one of his interviews says, I have no problem with playing villains. And he did probably play the best Doc Ock. Well, I think the only Doc Ock. Yeah. But it was the best.
There's another one called Angel of Mine, and the only actor that I recognize is Luke Evans. It's a drama, mystery, suspense. It's Naomi Rapace, who apparently was in the girl with the dragon tattoo.
Yeah.
Stars as a woman. Yeah, she doesn't look like she did, so maybe that's why I don't recognize her. Stars as a woman on the edge of an intense psychological thriller. Having suffered a tragic loss years earlier, Lizzie is trying to rebuild her life when she suddenly becomes obsessed with the neighbor's daughter, believing the girl to be her own child. As Lizzie's shocking, threatening acts grow increasingly dangerous, they lead to an explosive confrontation with the girl's angry, defensive mother. Who is Yvonne Strahovski from The Handmaid's Tale.
So, I mean, nothing necessarily geeky at this point.
No, more like suspense.
Yeah.
But I figured I'd give you a meme or two and something else that's going on. It's not necessarily going on this weekend, but I do want to let you guys know of something that is going to be happening soon.
Yeah.
This is actually really awesome. There is a Dr. Seuss exhibition that is hitting the road.
Really?
Mm-hmm. The tour begins in Toronto in October, and they even have a Seattle visit, but the dates haven't been announced yet for that. But it is going to be hitting up multiple cities.
So what's the deal with this then?
This exhibit is centered around a maze based on the places you'll go, the Dr. Seuss book that urges children to explore the world and move mountains despite the pitfalls and challenges. So children and adults will be able to explore rooms based on the Cat in the Hat, the Lorax, Did I Ever Tell You How Lucky You Are, and other of his other stuff that he did.
That's cool. That's going to be a trip.
Oh, yeah. So there are plans to take it to Boston, Seattle, Houston, and plenty of other North American cities.
Nice.
So,
Can I get my green eggs and ham?
They need those.
That's all I want.
Awesome.
Right?
I definitely want to go check this out. Like, I read some Dr. Seuss as a kid, but I feel like I cannot even begin to imagine what they're going to do for this exhibit.
The first book that I learned to read on was Go Dog Go.
Oh.
Yeah, I still remember that. Go.
I really loved
It was really easy.
Are You My Mother? Are You My Mommy?
Yeah.
That was super cute
I
too.
love those. How did you learn to read, Joe?
I didn't.
Oh.
He still doesn't
Never
know.
learned how to read.
I don't know. There were some books at some point. I'm sure I read them.
Wow. Just wasn't a big,
I'm a
big thing for
fancy
you there.
boy.
You're a fancy boy.
I love it. Well, if you guys are out there having some fun, please, if you see us at PAX, say hi. And tell us about all those games that you had a chance to play. And we'll be talking about more about that next week.
And until next time, guys, stay nerdy.
Your inner geek wants to come out and play, but where to go? Join Vernon Wells, the ultimate club where you and your fellow geeks can hang out, play games, and just nerd out 24/7. Whether you love RPGs, video games, or are just a major fan of sci-fi and geek culture, Vernon Wells has something for everyone. Let your geek flag fly at Vernon Wells. Sign up today and see for yourself. VNW